worry that we lack the skills to dive deep into the Scriptures. However, Jehovah warmly encourages each of us to put our heart into personal study. By doing so, we show that we truly appreciate the truth, that we desire to make good decisions based on God's thinking, and that we want to strengthen our faith in Him. The Bible highlights the immense value of personal study. In Proverbs 2, 3, and 4, we read, "Moreover, if you call out for understanding and raise your voice for discernment, if you keep seeking for it as for silver, and you keep searching for it as for hidden treasures." These words remind us that acquiring knowledge of God's Word and His purposes requires sustained effort, like digging for valuable silver or precious treasure. Through personal study, we cultivate a closer bond with Jehovah and learn to see the world through His eyes. One reason to put our heart into personal study is to show appreciation for the truth. In the scriptural passage above, Proverbs 2, 3, 4, Jehovah lovingly invites us to keep seeking and searching for a deeper understanding of His Word. True, reading and studying may feel challenging, but as we invest energy in examining the Scriptures, we demonstrate just how much we value the truth He provides. Consider the approach taken by someone named Corey, who focuses on one Bible verse at a time. He reads every footnote, looks up every cross-reference, and then conducts additional research. He explains that with this method, he gains so much insight and nourishment from God's Word. In a similar way, you might find a study method that resonates with you, whether it's using a reference Bible, exploring Bible-based publications, or meditating deeply on each passage. By putting time and effort into examining the Scriptures, we echo the sentiment of Psalm 1:1 through 3, which promises blessings to those who delight in Jehovah's law and who meditate on it day and night. This heartfelt pursuit of knowledge is a clear expression of our gratitude for the precious truths God has given us. Another vital reason to engage in diligent personal study is that it equips us to make good decisions. Proverbs 2, 5 through 7 reads, "Then you will understand the fear of Jehovah, and you will find the knowledge of God. For Jehovah Himself gives wisdom. From His mouth come knowledge and discernment. He treasures up practical wisdom for the upright. He is a shield for those walking in integrity." When confronted with important life choices, it is easy to rely on our own inclinations or on prevailing cultural standards. However, the Bible encourages us to base our decisions on the knowledge of the Most Holy One. This means taking the time to consult God's Word, praying for His direction, and considering the wise counsel found in Bible-based publications. Such careful study and reflection help us see matters from Jehovah's perspective. True wisdom involves more than just knowing facts. It is the ability to use that knowledge in a way that pleases God and yields the best possible outcome. By allowing scriptural principles to guide our thinking, we can avoid many pitfalls and ensure that our decisions bring honor to God and blessings to ourselves. Jehovah is the only one who can give us true wisdom. As Romans 16:27 notes, He is the only wise God. Why? He is the Creator. His knowledge of His creation is limitless, giving Him perfect insight into our needs and the world around us. All His actions reflect wisdom. Jehovah's judgments and decisions reveal an unsearchable depth of wisdom far beyond human reasoning. His counsel always benefits us. Proverbs 2:10-12. When we apply His wise guidance, we protect ourselves from harmful paths and experience genuine peace. Accepting these fundamental truths helps us cultivate genuine wisdom. When we trust that Jehovah knows what is best for us, we are more inclined to pray for His guidance, to consult His Word, and to let His thinking shape our decisions. In turn, this attitude safeguards us from misguided courses of action and keeps us on a path that honors God. A final reason to invest your heart in personal study is to strengthen your faith. Many feel pressure to conform to popular beliefs that conflict with the Bible, such as evolution or purely secular viewpoints. However, Proverbs 2:11-12 states, "Thinking ability will keep watch over you, and discernment will safeguard you, to save you from the bad course, from the man speaking perverse things." This thinking ability is a precious gift from God. It enables us to scrutinize ideas and teachings that might weaken our faith. Genuine faith is not blind or naive. Rather, it is built on accurate knowledge of our Creator and His will. Hence, when you study God's Word or use Christian publications, resist the urge to skim through the material. Instead, take time to get the sense of what you read, just as Jesus indicated in Matthew 13:23. The result? You will find ample, convincing evidence that bolsters your belief in a Creator and in the reliability of the Bible. Hebrews 11:1 footnote. With each discovery, your confidence in Jehovah's promises deepens, and you become more resilient against misleading philosophies. Putting your heart into personal study requires effort and, at times, self-discipline. Yet, the rewards far surpass any sacrifice. Proverbs 2:4 likens divine truths to hidden treasures, underscoring their value and the joy we feel when we discover them. By devoting ourselves to heartfelt study, we show appreciation for the truth by actively searching for it as we would for silver. We make better decisions because we align our thinking with Jehovah's. We acknowledge Jehovah as the source of true wisdom and allow His wisdom to shape our lives. We strengthen our faith, equipping ourselves to stand firm against any pressure to abandon God's Word. May all of us treasure the privilege of drawing close to Jehovah through personal study. As you continue to mine the scriptural gems found in the Bible, remember that Jehovah stands ready to reward your sincere efforts with deeper understanding, valuable guidance, and an unshakable faith. Truly, it is worth putting your whole heart into personal for those walking in integrity. Jehovah is described as a shield for those walking in integrity by serving as a divine protector and safeguard for individuals who live according to His principles. Just as a physical shield deflects blows and dangers, Jehovah's protection covers those who strive to maintain moral uprightness and trust in His guidance. This means that while we might face challenges or adversity in life, our reliance on Jehovah ensures that we receive both spiritual and practical protection. His support not only secures our path, but also gives us the strength and stability to pursue a righteous life, even when external circumstances are challenging. Next question: what spiritual gems from this week's Bible reading would you like to share? Proverbs 2. One lesson: treasure God's Word. This verse invites us to receive the words of wisdom and store the commands in our heart. It reminds us that when we value God's instructions above all else, we lay a foundation for spiritual growth. In our lives and ministry, this means giving priority to God's revelations and allowing His teachings to guide our decisions and actions. Proverbs 2:2. Lesson: listen attentively to divine guidance. The verse encourages us to incline our ear to wisdom and to pay careful attention to God's guidance. By truly listening, both during personal Bible study and in our ministry, we become more attuned to Jehovah's voice, ensuring that our words and deeds reflect His loving direction. Proverbs 2:3 and 4. Lesson: pursue wisdom with determination. These verses compare the search for wisdom to hunting for hidden treasure. The lesson here is clear. Just as precious valuables require diligent effort to be found, so too must we actively seek spiritual understanding. This pursuit transforms our lives, enabling us to preach with a sincere heart and robust knowledge of God's promises. Proverbs 2:5. Lesson: the reward of seeking God. By earnestly seeking wisdom, we ultimately understand the fear of Jehovah and gain true knowledge of God. This lesson encourages us to keep our focus on Jehovah in all we do. In our personal lives and ministry, cultivating this reverential awe of God deepens our trust in His promises and inspires others to follow His ways. Proverbs 2:6. Lesson: recognize God as the source of true wisdom. This verse states that Jehovah gives wisdom, and that from His mouth come knowledge and understanding. It reminds us that every good insight originates with God. For our preaching work, this is a powerful assurance that our message is rooted in divine guidance rather than mere human reasoning. Proverbs 2:7. Lesson: embrace God's protection through righteous living. Jehovah preserves the upright and acts as a shield for those whose lives reflect His standards. In practical terms, this teaches us that living in accordance with God's commands not only brings spiritual rewards, but also offers protection in times of challenge. This assurance strengthens our resolve to adhere to biblical principles, both personally and when ministering. Proverbs 2:9. Lesson: let God's truth illuminate the path of justice. Here we learn that by gaining wisdom, we come to understand righteousness, justice, and equity. This comprehensive understanding helps us discern the right path in life. In our preaching and everyday decisions, aligning our conduct with these values can make a compelling case for a life that honors God's justice. Proverbs 2:10. Lesson: allow wisdom to enrich your inner life. The verse describes wisdom entering the heart and making knowledge pleasant to the soul. This inner enrichment leads to joy and inner peace, a treasure that also radiates outwards in our interactions with others. When we share our experiences of this spiritual joy, we inspire others to seek the same enriching relationship with God. Proverbs 2:11. Lesson: let discretion and understanding guard you. Discretion and understanding are portrayed as vital safeguards against the dangers of life. By cultivating these qualities through the study of God's Word, we prepare ourselves to avoid pitfalls and harmful influences. This preparedness not only benefits our personal well-being, but also strengthens our credibility as we counsel others in our ministry. Proverbs 2:12. Lesson: use wisdom to escape the traps of immorality. This verse warns that wisdom can deliver you from the paths of wickedness and immoral enticements. The practical takeaway is to rely on the insight provided by God's Word to discern and avoid behaviors that lead away from righteousness. In preaching, we can share how a strong foundation in wisdom helps believers maintain moral to Jerusalem, and what challenges will he face there. What brings Paul to Jerusalem? Paul is driven by his recognition of Jerusalem's profound historical significance as the city where Jehovah has worked mightily among his people. He observes that many local Christians are overly reliant on their illustrious past, neglecting to progress with Jehovah's advancing purposes. Additionally, his earlier experience in Ephesus, where material need also played a role, compels him to return to Jerusalem despite potential dangers, all in pursuit of meeting a spiritual need and reinvigorating the faith of its inhabitants. What challenges he will face there? Paul is set to encounter opposition from two fronts. First, some of Christ's followers are troubled by circulating rumors about him, which creates internal dissent. More significantly, he will face severe challenges from Christ's enemies, who intend to launch false accusations, physically assault him, and even threaten his life. These adversities, however, also offer him an opportunity to demonstrate his humility, courage, and unwavering faith, a powerful example for Christians today. Utbildliche Bölüm. A. What meeting did Paul attend in Jerusalem and what was discussed? Paul attended a meeting with the responsible elders of the Jerusalem congregation. This gathering, which likely included James, the brother of Jesus, was held the day after his arrival in Jerusalem. During the meeting, Paul gave a detailed account of the significant things God had accomplished among the nations through his ministry. He also probably mentioned the contributions he had brought from Europe, which greatly encouraged the elders, prompting them to glorify God. Part B. What lessons may we draw from Paul's meeting with the elders in Jerusalem? The meeting of Paul with the elders in Jerusalem teaches us several valuable lessons for both our ministry and personal spiritual growth. First, it highlights the importance of open and sincere communication within the congregation. Paul provided a detailed account of the significant work God had accomplished among the nations through his ministry, which not only served to update the elders, but also strengthened the unity and trust among believers. This transparent sharing of experiences and challenges is crucial for maintaining a vibrant and cohesive spiritual community. Furthermore, Paul's report emphasizes the strength that comes from mutual encouragement and global unity. By discussing the contributions from various regions, he reminded everyone that the work of the kingdom is a worldwide effort, providing hope and support to believers even in times of hardship. The heartfelt response of the elders, who glorified God upon hearing the good news, serves as a powerful reminder of how timely encouragement can uplift the spirits of the entire congregation. The encounter with the elders underscores the importance of humility and a deep reliance on Jehovah. Paul's example of attributing every success to God's guidance rather than his own efforts teaches us that our ministry should always be aimed at glorifying Jehovah. Recognizing that it is God who bestows wisdom and strength, we are encouraged to maintain an attitude of humility and to trust in his saving power as we face our own challenges. 6. What problem did Paul learn about? Paul learned that there was a significant problem in Judea involving a rumor about his teachings. Specifically, he was informed that among the many Jewish believers who were zealous for the law, a rumor had circulated that he was teaching an apostasy from Moses. This rumor suggested that he was advising Jews among the nations not to circumcise their children or follow the customary practices associated with the law. 7 and 8. Part A. What mistaken view did many Christians in Judea have? Many Christians in Judea mistakenly held on to the view that the Mosaic law still applied to them, even more than 20 years after its abolishment for believers. They were zealous for the customs and practices that had been so central to their ancestral religious identity, including circumcision, and did not recognize that the Old Covenant had been replaced by the New Covenant through Christ. This error was not due to a rejection of Christian principles. On the contrary, these Jewish Christians did not come from pagan backgrounds. Rather, they had a deep-seated familiarity and attachment to the law, which was originally given by Jehovah. Their adherence to these practices reflected a misunderstanding of the progressive revelation of truth that had shifted worship from the Old Covenant to the New Covenant, where the ceremonial observances of the law were rendered obsolete. 7 and 8. Part B. Why did the mistaken thinking of some Jewish Christians not amount to apostasy? The mistaken thinking of some Jewish Christians did not amount to apostasy because their attachment to the Mosaic law was based on a lack of understanding, rather than a deliberate rejection of Christian faith. These believers were not continuing to follow pagan customs or demonic practices, which would have constituted apostasy. Instead, they simply lacked a complete understanding of the new covenant brought through Christ. The Mosaic law, although now obsolete concerning how Christians should worship, had originally been given by Jehovah and was not inherently wrong. These Jewish Christians needed to align their thinking with the progressive revelation of truth, but their continued zealousness for the law did not disqualify them from being Christians. Instead, they required further guidance to understand that the observances of the Old Covenant were no longer necessary for pure worship under the New Covenant.